This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Hey, what's up guys? Will here. Welcome back to Modeling from the Ensign's Chair. This is episode 4 of my NX-01 1350 Enterprise build. And this is actually a re-record. I hadn't recorded this whole episode, so I'm a little bit ahead of where I wanted to be when I started showing everything. But I uploaded my videos to my laptop, and while I was editing, my laptop just died. So I'm going to have to go get a new computer, so I probably won't get this episode out till a week after it's done. So I apologize for that, but technology, you gotta love it. If I can figure out a way to get it uploaded this weekend, I will. But we'll see. So anyway, I got a couple things to go over. I want to start, well, I did start on the nacelles this weekend, and I've at this point pretty much got them worked out. When I first started recording this episode, I hadn't even figured everything out. I was going to walk you through, everything I was doing to try to figure out how to light this up and how to run the wires and all that stuff. And of course, since I lost that video, I'm already past that point. So what I'll do is I'll put you on the desk. We'll take a look at where I'm at, and I'll walk you through how I got to where I'm at. And I'll also go back over a couple of the other things I did as far as the saucer section and a couple other things. So give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll get to work. Alright guys, so here we are. I've got the nacelle laid out. Before we get into that though, I want to talk about a couple other things I did to the saucer section. I did finally get all the windows inserted into the saucer section, and I also installed the photons for the torpedo launchers. They're all in there, so you can see those from the front there. And I do have a little filling to do on those, but other than that, that's pretty much done. Also on the walls, I told you about the supports there that I had to cut out in order to be able to fit those lights in. Let's see if I can get some light to shine through there. You can see where it's at. Okay, you got the one, there it is, right there. So I did remove that support. So once I'm ready to put this together, I can just stick those lights in there. And this one I may have to clear out a little bit more because I wasn't quite able to get in there with my rotary tool without damaging anything else. So I'll put a grinder bit on, a little small pointy tip grinder bit on it, and get in there and clean that out a little bit more. But that is pretty much good to go. And on the upper saucer, I pretty much finished getting all the details in place. I got these two things here in place, and I've got this sensor, I believe, back here in place, and I've got this, I think it's supposed to be, I guess it's supposed to be like a little observation tower or something. I don't know what it is, but this is another part I talked about last episode about parts you're going to want to put in place before you do all the priming and painting. This is another one of them because there's a seam here, and you're going to want to get rid of that seam. So put that part on, and along with the other parts I mentioned, like the sidewalls on the lower saucer and that, before you do your main painting. That way you've kind of don't have to go back and keep touching up. Now so far I've had pretty good luck. Like I said, I've been doing a base coat of the shimmering silver here from Deco Art, and coming back over it with a light misting of the Anita's Metallic Titanium Gold. And these are all craft paints again from that I get from Hobby Lobby. But I thought it was going to be a little difficult to do that, and then when I had to come back and touch something up to get it to match, but it's actually been pretty easy to blend in. So that's worked out pretty well. But so the saucer section is pretty much done and ready to go. We are just waiting on the I guess you can call this the impulse section. But I've got that in place. I've done, of course I haven't done all of it yet, but I did, let me move this light over here. work on the deck here a little bit, and it doesn't say it on the instructions, but when you look at the CGI renderings of the model they used, this is that titanium gold. So I masked that off and painted that, and then I did do a little bit of dry brushing to get a little bit of the framing on the impulse crystal here done. So, and if you don't know what dry brushing is, basically you just take, I don't have my wide brush sitting right here, but actually yes I do. I just bought a new pack of brushes. So you want to get a decently wide brush. You don't want to use a fine tip brush, but just get you a brush that's got kind of a wide tip to it, and you get your little paint on it, and then you just take you a paper towel or anything else and just wipe the paint on until you're not getting a whole lot of paint coming off of it. And then you just come at the detail that you want to paint at I guess this would be a 90-degree angle. You just come at it and lightly brush, and what will happen is those little raised areas will pick up that little bit of paint that's left on there. So it works out pretty decent for little things like that, where you're trying to get the detail painted, but you don't want to get paint all over the place as well. I did the same thing on the back end of the this little, I guess it's like a grill detail back here. I did the same thing, a little dry brush technique, and it worked out pretty well. So like I said, sausage section's good to go. Impulse deck, I did wire it up for lights. Let me get the battery here. I'll take a look at it. But there we go, she's all wired up. Right now I've got a cool white LED strip in there. I'm going to have to swap that out. I had to order some more of the warm white. I don't know, I haven't really compared it to see if there's much of a noticeable difference with the lighting as far as these small lights, but I don't want to take a chance with it. So I've got it on order, should be here next weekend. So I'll just swap that out, but I wanted to put one in here to at least test it out and see how that crystal was lighting up. And she's lighting up pretty good, so as well as all the other lights that need to light up. This one here is going to be the this one, little hole right here is where our other strobe, if I get my words together, there, strobe light is going to go. So we'll get that put in, and that pretty much catches you up to that part. So let's take a look at what I figured out here with this nacelle. Let me light it up for you real quick so you can see what we've got before I pull it back apart. So make sure all these wires aren't touching, because I do have bare ends on here. It's positive and negative, I definitely don't want touching. So pull those apart, make sure they're good. And we'll plug this in and take a look at it. Yeah, hang on, because I don't like how close that is there. Alright, so there we go. You can see I've got the nav and the strobe on the back end of the nacelle there. And I've got that light on the underside as well. They're really bright, but I've got an idea how to cut that down. There's a part that goes over that, so it's not going to be as exposed as it is right now. But and we got our buzzard effect there. I did stick a piece of cotton in there that kind of helped disperse the light, and it looks pretty good, in my opinion. And on the sides of the nacelles here, now one thing I got to go back over because I lost that footage. When these get shipped to you from Tenant Controls, let me turn this light back on. Your blue LED strips, when they get shipped to you, they're folded in half like this. Well, on that strip there, this contact had actually broken because it had been folded. So it wasn't working anyway, so I cut it off, and instead of soldering it back together, I decided to try it with just a half of a light strip and see how it lights up. And I think it lights up really good. I think if I put the other half back on, it's just going to be overly bright. So it's lighting up really nice on both sides. I do have a little more light diffusion to do. I've got an idea how to do that, but it's a little brighter on this side, I think, because this is kind of almost like little mini prisms on this side that are catching the light, whereas this side's more of a flat surface. This would be the inboard, and this would be the outboard. So The other thing I've got to do with this is there's these gaps, these little sections in between these prisms, and from what I've seen on the images, let's see if I can pull it up for you here, from the CGI rendering, that is, there we go, let's see if we can pull that up. That is supposed to be dark in the between those. You're not supposed to get light through those. So I'm gonna have to come in and mask that off and paint that with some black paint to get those black lines in there. So I'll come back and do that. And but other than that, let me get my viewfinder back up here. Other than that, everything else is lighting up really well on it. So let me turn this light on and I'll show you what I did here to get this lit up. Because you do have, the kit doesn't come with lighting for the back half of this, as far as you're going to need a 3mm white LED down here, because this is a steady on light on the bottom. And then up here you've got that strobe, which doesn't come with the kit. The only thing that comes with the Tenna Controls kit is this nav light up here. So the way I wired this was, I started with what I knew went where. So in other words, I knew the buster collector went up front, so I went ahead and glued that in place. And then you've got to cut a little notch in this forward wall. Put this light over here, maybe see a little better. In this forward bulkhead here, I guess you would call it. And you cut a little notch there, and then you can run your wires through there. And right now I've got them hot glued in place, and then I've got them hot glued again here. And then I've wired my LED strip. I've run the wires up here for that, and so that's in place on the top here, so I don't have to worry as much about the fusion. If I had these pointing straight at the sides, you would have a lot of work to do to diffuse that light. So this makes it a little bit easier. What I'm going to try to do with this to help diffuse that light is, typically what I do is I'll take a piece of thin sheet styrene and I'll cut it and I'll probably glue it right in front of those lights, so that way it helps disperse that light a little bit and you don't get those hot spots as bad. So I'll do that and we'll take a look at that probably next video, which I might end up having to put out 2 episodes back to back if I can't get this, figure out the way to get this uploaded. I don't have my video editing software or any of that right now to put the titles and stuff on, so it's probably going to be next weekend before I get it. So I might have 2 videos coming out next weekend if you don't see this earlier. But so I've got that wired in, and then I just ran my wire also for this strobe, which is already attached to the LED strip. It's wired in on this end. So I just ran that wire underneath and put the 3mm LED here for the nav. So, and then I just glued the blue LED strip over top of it. So that way those wires are all tucked up out of the way. You're not going to have anything in the way of the blue chiller grill or whatever this may be considered now. But so I did that, and then once I got everything in place that came with the kit, I kind of figured out my wiring as far as for the strobe. Basically with these Tenna control kits, your positives are all connected together. They all run together. What controls your strobe and your nav blinking is your ground wire. So what I did was I ran my positive wire from the strobe I'm adding and just connected it up here along with where the positive for the nav light is connected. So those are connected together up here. And then all I have to do now is, what I have done, is I just got to run one wire now, one extra wire down to power that. So it's got to go down to the board, which will be in the saucer section once I get it installed. I've got a temporary connection here. But so all I got to do is add this one wire instead of adding 2 extra wires for a positive and negative. All I got to do is add this one negative wire that'll control the strobe effect. So for this steady on light, because the power supply to this blue LED strip is static, it's always on, all I had to do was wire this into the wires, the positive and negative wires for that LED strip, which are blue and green. Blue is your positive, and you can't really see where I spliced it, but I just spliced it in down here. Blue is your positive and green is your negative. So you can just splice it into that and you'll have that, that steady on light there. So that's how I figured out, or how I wired mine. Like I said, all I had to do was add that one wire down to the board, so it should be good. And everything is, like I said, wired up and good to go. And we'll cut this on one more time. Get that light out the way. Everything, nothing touching. Oh, we're good. And you can see how that all that lights up inside there. And tucked all these wires out of the way so it's not blocking the chiller grills. But it's turned out pretty good. So all I got to do is wire up the other side just like this, and it'll be good to go. And what I've been doing is, let me get this wire out the way so it doesn't move. On this back end here, I need to unplug it because you can't see it too well. So I took somebody else's advice. I'd seen a couple people post that they were doing this. But for the light blocking in here, I bought some of this Tulip, which is dimensional fabric paint. And it does an excellent job. Like I said, I got this from somebody else. A couple of people had mentioned they use this. And it does an awesome job of light blocking. So you can kind of, it's got a very fine tip on it. And you can take this and kind of get it in some tight spots and get your light blocking around these lights so it's not casting light everywhere. So that's how I did the light blocking on the back of that. And I also used it, you can see around the inside of the lower part of the saucer walls. I used it to help light block, and it does a really good job of light blocking. So I highly recommend. It's Tulip. This is the matte basic black, and I got this again from Hobby Lobby. I'm sure Michael's probably has it too. But really good stuff to use. And other than that, you know, I do want to say that I went out and bought a decent soldering iron, and this has made a world of difference. This has made soldering so much easier. And I'm not kicking up a particular brand. I got this off of Amazon. It's some generic name. I don't even know what it's called, but I got it off Amazon. I think I paid 35 bucks for it, and it is so much better than the other soldering iron I was using. You know, I was watching Boyd on TrekWorks and a couple other builders, and when they did their soldering, they made it look so easy, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't do it. Well, I tell you what, this soldering iron has made a world of difference. So if you're having trouble soldering, or you're just getting into soldering, I recommend you get something like this, and it'll help out a lot. It makes a big difference between that and buying one of those, you know, $8, $10 soldering irons. So it does make a big difference. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I just want to catch y'all back up since I lost that video. But I'm going to try now to figure out a way to get this uploaded. But I don't have my video editing software, so like I said, I may have to wait till next week, and I'll go out and get another laptop this week and get all that set back up and get this out. So, but anyway, I appreciate everybody that's been subscribing and watching these videos, and I hope you're finding the information useful. If you do find the information useful, please, subscribe. But if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to. At least hit that like button down there. Let me know how I'm doing. But again, thank you to everybody for your support and for watching these videos. And until next time, keep modeling.